Hi, my name is Nick Pearson. This is my discussion board video number 2 for We Should All Be Feminists. So, part 1, in the beginning, she describes an experience that she had promoting a book, a man who was eager to give her advice. This meeting brought to her attention a lot of the misconceptions and misunderstandings surrounding feminism. Such that it is a product of Western corruption, or that feminists are unhappy women who are unable to find husbands. She sees her, and this led her to see herself as a happy feminist who does not hate men and can be feminine for herself and not just for the attention of guys. Some of her first experiences with gender inequality had a strong influence with the way that she sees the issue now, and she talked about when she was a young child, she wanted to be the classroom monitor, and all the teacher said you had to do was earn the highest score on a test, which she did. And once she earned the highest score, the teacher said that the position could only be taken by a boy, as if that was obvious. A little bit later on in her life, she described a situation where she tried to give a tip to a man for unpacking their car while she was with a friend who was a male, and the man who was unpacking her car thanked her friend because he assumed that any money that she had came from him. Not only did this bring to her attention the issues of gender equality that she was talking about, it also brought to her attention the blindness that a lot of men have to that these issues actually exist, that there's anything wrong with the way things are now, such as her friend there. She says that she's angry about gender bias and gender inequality because this issue is having negative consequences on both boys and girls, yet she is hopeful that for the future, because anger has a history of bringing about positive change, she suggests that we start with the way that we raise our kids. Things like teaching boys that money is not linked to masculinity, that it's okay for them to be vulnerable, and teaching girls not to limit themselves to protect the egos of boys. And that brings me to the premise that success of a woman is a threat to a man. This starts with the way that kids have been raised in the past, that girls are taught to have ambition, but not too much. They're taught to limit themselves to protect boys, to protect men and their egos. Girls are taught to aspire to marriage, whereas boys are told that they can be anything. This affects their business life. She told stories of a woman she knew who wore a wedding ring to business meetings so that she would be taken seriously. And this also has an effect on their appearance in a business situation, such as a meeting. And the appearance of an appearance affects men and women differently because men don't have to worry about going to a business meeting wearing a suit looking too masculine, but girls, on the other hand, have to worry about being taken for granted if they dress too feminine. Gender matters because we make it matter. Girls are already feel that they have to prove themselves. They have to focus on their appearance in order to be taken seriously before focusing on the actual subject matter that they're trying to get across. Now, finally, I believe that She generally outlined the struggles of gender inequality quite well in the ways that it affects both men and women. She proposed changes to the ways that we raise our kids, not linking money to masculinity, that it's okay for boys to be vulnerable, and as a result of that, it would strengthen the egos of men, not make them so sensitive to when a woman is successful. And then at the same time, teaching girls not to limit themselves for fear of intimidating a man. Now, I would consider myself a feminist because as the dynamics of society change, like she talked about, that leadership roles are no longer by whoever is the strongest or by brute force. It's more creativity, intelligence, and that as those kinds of dynamics of our society are changing, that our view of gender needs to adapt to keep up instead of sticking to outdated social norms that have negative consequences for both men and women.